Right, hello. This is the branch vlog for 0.2.3.9 to do with overhauling the original Paper ZD animation blueprint, which had multiple state machines, into the version 3 of the animation blueprint, originally prototyped in the enemy upgrade of the animation blueprint months and months ago. So that's the main focus of it. As you can see, I've highlighted it. Yeah, I'll highlight, explain, I'll timestamp it. So this one, so the number we're up to at the moment is like just short of 1500. So as you can tell by the number 768, that is some time ago. The issue related to, you would sprint, you'd press the sprint button. If you had stamina, you'd press the sprint button and it would sprint, but then you would stop sprinting. Let's say you stop sprinting with half your stamina bar, the stamina bar would keep on thinking you're sprinting. So essentially it started but it never stopped. I fixed it just now, as you might have figured out, it's just there. Fixed it this morning. It related to when I migrated from the old way of inputs to the new way of inputs. I was having some trouble, because it was a while ago I did this migration to the enhanced input branch. I was having some trouble thinking, well, how do I stop it? Like, which one of these do I pick? So I must have inadvertently left stop blank, but plugging it in wasn't the solution. Originally this was set to triggered, so as you can imagine, once it's triggered it just goes. I was playing around with it this morning. If you right click it and go to definition, I was hoping it would have gone to like Unreal's website for enhanced input, but it did something kind of a bit better. It loads up the input action sprite. So with enhanced input actions, you create separate different actions and then you plug them all in. It'll be like unknown territory, so I might as well show you it. So you see we've got all these different actions, and then you can have multiple mappings. I suppose mappings would be like, in game like Halo, for example, you get controls for when you're on foot, controls for when you're flying, controls for when you're driving. I think that's where you'd have different input actions. So clicking here, you will see sprint is there, and this thing, you create a new one, you create this, the sprint action, and you plug that into this mapping, which is what is getting done here. So you plugged it in. So I'll go one step back. This was down as pressed, so even if I did like an uncomplete or uncancelled, which you might be thinking, well, a pressed complete would be letting go of the pressed button. Didn't work. But then I noticed crouch behaves how I'd expect it to. So it works while you hold it. It stops, like uncrouches when you let go. So I went to this definition and I noticed it was on triggers down. And then it dawned on me, I need to set it as button down in this case. So I could show you it. So let me go to perspective. Let me do keep the colour. So if you look on the top right, old school way, that bar would just keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. If I let go, and then we'll let it fill up, just so you can get a true example of it. It's much darker on my screen actually, versus the recording. I think I took HDR off because it was causing trouble with YouTube. But if I run now and then stop, and then I run and then stop, see, and I jumps fine. You see, so that's that fixed. That's that bug. Reequipping Weapons sometimes does not show the correct animation blueprint. Yeah, oldish bug. To really give you some proper explanation. Originally, there was one weapon. Now there's two weapons, and with one weapon, not the right one. I need unequipped. With one weapon, you can't toggle between another weapon, can you? And it's that first person mode. Well, that's fine. You just make another gun appear or something, or you do like a put away, pull back. But yeah, more than one weapon has the issue of, well, that means you've got a primary and a secondary and you've got an active. You don't just have a weapon and the weapon is inherently active because it's the only weapon. You have a fork in the road, don't you? You have is primary active, is secondary active, is main, is main active, is side active in my case. So, originally I didn't have this, and I also didn't have this step. What I was doing is this is unequipped main weapon. Get to this bit. So, is active weapon the same as item class? So, like in this case, main weapon. So, you've got your submachine gun. You've unequipped it. Is the submachine gun the active weapon in human speak? Yeah. Old way. Okay. Holster it. Active weapon goes into this toggle active weapon blueprint, which essentially it's a glorified flip flop and just saves how many bullets you've got left in your gun, all that sort of stuff. What fire mode you've got. Then main weapon is empty, so like the object as well as the class is empty. I probably might not even need the object, to be honest. And then that's it. And side weapon is identical to this one, but there's a scenario which it didn't factor in. What if the submachine gun is your active weapon? You unholster it, old way, holstered, active weapon goes into there, but you go in here, main weapon, Valley class, no, because you've just got rid of the class. Side weapon Valley class, no, if you've only got a submachine gun. Then it's like, okay, so it then passes in the I'm explaining this, but essentially if you've got one last weapon and it's your active weapon, if you've got one last weapon, that one last weapon will always be your active weapon. If you unequipped your last weapon, it doesn't, in the original way, remove it from these classes, and these classes control what animation sprites you were doing. So what this looks like is you have a handgun holstered, you unequipped it, it's your last weapon, you've got no weapons equipped, you still look like you've got the handgun equipped, vice versa, exactly the same thing for submachine gun. What has been done different is that initial check, but is the side weapon class valid? So, okay, so you're equipped in, because this is main, remember, so this is submachine gun function. If the submachine gun is active and you get rid of it, okay, but is your side weapon, do you have a valid side weapon at the moment? And it's like, oh, you don't? Okay, wipe it. Correct animation shows, you unequipped everything, everything's unequipped. You equipped everything, everything is equipped because it does this check, and then unequipped side weapon does the same thing, but the side weapon's active, true. Okay, well, do you have a valid main weapon? You don't, okay, there. And if you do, then yeah, just holster it. It works fine. So there was an edge case, a broad edge case, like, it occurred. It's not like a rarity, so I just patched it. What I can do is, I should really do this. I was thinking about doing it. If I go to here, you might have done this before. Right click, version control, history. We want, let's pick way back, it doesn't matter. Well, not too far. Let's pick my birthday. Compare against, see changes in, current version. Yes, the bottom one, workspace. Let's go to main weapon unequipped. You see, I really do like this screen. Occasionally it crashes in the older updates, but for Unreal, it's real good. You see how that case, the green, wasn't factored in. That scenario wasn't captured. Yeah, so I just caught the scenario. Bug's gone. Tidy sprites. I've done a bit of it. There was a bit where I have 140 by 140 sprites, and I need to align the face perfectly for all the sprites, because if you're changing a weapon, you don't want the full character to be moving. You just want the bits to be moving. Just like in real life, if you're pulling something out your bag, you wouldn't expect your head to go like that, or like that, or like you go like that in between, just pulling something out your bag. So tidied up a bunch of it. It's not perfect yet. Sprites aren't the main focus right now. They're not in a pre-polished state. So initial, get it going, version 1. Version 2, refactor, get it looking good. That's now. Version 3, pre-polish. Version 4, like, ready, shippable, polished. So sprites are kind of in like 2.5, version 2.5 right now. Create missing multi-directional animation sequences. Right, so remember the previous branch where I talked about turning all these. Remember, I did them all right-faced, and then I just mirror flipped it, and I turned them all into like multiples. So it's like this. And so let me double click it. And that left. If you're aiming and you're shooting and you're looking up, then I default it to right. So you see, like that. There was a couple of missing ones to do with unholster, and these aren't perfect. I don't like them. Like, you'll see left holster, I'm halfway through it, because you'll see like his holster moves on his leg. So yeah, so you can see unholster. Yeah, so these are the left ones I've made. That's the old right one, flipped, but I've just changed his like pocket badge and stuff. But I haven't changed the holster. So you see, there's a couple of missing ones. The missing ones were there was unholster, there was holstered, but there wasn't holster. So putting it back. Now there is, but it's still not perfect. But you see, so they're the missing ones. Correct wrong flipbooks in multi-directional animation sequences. There was a holster. It's not here anymore. Holster PDW pistol left. That behaved how I expected it, but then the multi-idle holstered, so it's already holstered, so like nothing's happening. It's idle but with holstered weapons rather than idle with unholstered weapons. I don't have an unholstered, so let me explain. Idle PDW is idle unholstered. Idle holstered PDW is holstered. You see where I'm coming from? Otherwise, like, I could just be adding words on forever and ever and ever. See where I'm coming from? So, the issue was idle. That one. Idle looked fine when it was unholstered, but when it was holstered, it was missing on his shoulder, and I went into it and I had left idle pistol holstered, which comes from, I've segmented it. I have PDW and I have pistol only. It was coming from pistol only, so that's what that relates to. Removing last weapon when active does not remove the active. Yeah, that's the thing I talked about above. Reequipping. You see, because I've spotted it again, didn't realise it was. I originally logged it. That's why there's two. Yeah. Away from the bugs now. Need hotkey press. Did this ages ago. Look how it's like year one. Did it ages ago. It's H. So yeah. Full pass on animation blueprint logic trigger. Yes. I'll talk about this in segments rather than talk about all in one go, and then because some of these talk about it as well. Originally, where is it? Oh, that one. It looked like this. So ignore the version 3. Technically not a prototype now, it's successful. I had it like this. So, so I went in this top to bottom. If you understand SQL, it's a bit like a case when. So the top one takes precedence. The top when takes precedence. The top logic pass takes preference. So you've got a pistol equipped. You don't have the PDW equipped, the submachine gun, personal defense weapon, and you're dead. Then dead bit, and then you're dead with the pistol. All right, and then I'll do a couple more, but I won't go through all of them because you'll get the rhythm. You've got a submachine gun. You've got. I realise I've done it back to front. Yeah, this one's wrong. It doesn't matter anyway because it always ended up being the same in this case. I haven't done death sprites for if you've got the submachine gun equipped in your hands. And then yeah, if you're dead, that's me trying stuff. This is the original way, sorry. This is post version 1, pre version 3. This bit, trial and error. If you're dead, then the dead animation. If you press the dance button, then dance animation. Else, if you've got the pistol, you don't have the submachine gun, and your pistol's active, then you want the pistol state machine. Swap it. You don't have a pistol, and your PDW is active, then you want the PDW state machine. If you've got a PDW and a pistol, and the PDW is active, you might be understanding where the naming convention comes from now. It is order of precedence. So you see, pistol PDW is pistol getting holstered, PDW on your back, like this. But PDW pistol is PDW getting holstered, pistol. I should not on your back. I should say pistol unholstered, pistol holstered. So the one that's in first place, the weapon name that's in first place is the active weapon, unless it's holstered, and then I just put a both. You know, if both are holstered, like that. Right, so, yeah, that's where the naming convention comes from, and that's why it's ordered like this. Else, no active weapon, else you haven't got a weapon, have you? I don't need to do, is that's null and that's null, because it's already done all the processing steps, and then this is kind of like an else. This is like catching what's left. Like, that literally is an else in this case. That's version 1. Full pass, got redefined. It now looks like this. This is a version 1. I have a version 2 about to be made. Version 2, I have created an enum with the varying states, and then depending on the enum state, the instance of this enum, which is this in weapon. Is it in weapon? It is here. Not active weapon. Oh, it's not in weapon because it's an animation, isn't it? So it's in animation, you see. So if this is holstered, then do the holstered integer, and the holstered integer triggers which animation sequence to play. I'll do a deep dive in a sec. Version 2. Version 1, similar to what you saw here. Side weapon is empty, and main weapon is empty, and active weapon is empty. Technically it should be, I could just delete those two, to be honest, but if everything's empty, then you do no weapon. No weapon animations are at 0.0. If you've got pistol, okay, so what you're doing with the pistol, if you reload and changing ammo, number 5, else if it's holstered, but it's just holstered, so you pressed holster and you're just holstering it, animation 3, else holstered. If it's holstered, false, and it's just unholstered, so you're just pulling it out, that animation, else unholstered. Repeat, repeat, repeat. I've put in like a toggle thing here, which only is viable when there's more than one weapon. Talk about that lower down. So that's the refactoring of the logic. This goes into a function. This function, currently in its version 1 state, gets plugged in. So holstering runs the animation because a holster boolean has changed. So it will run one of these and then run one of them, or run one of them. And then you see just holstered has changed, so then I get it to do it. You could say I could do it on event dispatcher. I'm not doing that. And then holstered, so the bool state has changed again. So run this pass to say, okay, change the integer. I'm essentially saying pick the right integer to select the right animation. Pick the right integer to select the right animation. It's just a glorified integer selector. You can see animation blueprint. Enum I'm preparing here. See, to swap over. So that's holster, and then you can see ammo type. Well, that's changing ammo. So then changing ammo, and then do that, and then you see reload. Well, that's a reload one, and then I get it. It's reloading. Feed that into there. Toggle weapon. Feed that into there. I've overhauled it already. Actually, I've already done the version 2. I'll talk about that shortly. So you see, that's how it's working. I'll go into a deep dive into the state machine now. So, old state machines. You see how it's like there's idle, there's crouch walk, and then there's all these rules that control it. So, idle to don't use brace aim anymore. Idle to aim is holstered so it's unholstered, you are aiming, you're not moving, and you're not reloading. Aim animation. And then through the aim animation is shooting, then shooting animation. Is not shooting, then back to aim. And that's how you get the like aim, shoot. So it's kind of going like aim, shoot, aim, and that's how it would trigger, like that, like that, like that, like that. That's version 1. Yeah. You might be thinking, oh Nick, what happens if you change something in PDW and then you've got to change it in pistol and you've got to change it in pistol and PDW? Yeah, exactly. That. Can occur, did occur. Won't occur anymore. Now we have a universal state machine. Idle. Look at the idle variable, and then from that idle map, so this map is green, let me scroll, hold control, green integers, blues animation sequences. Integer selects the correct animation sequence, player controller selects left right up. So what is that? That is this. All those different multi-directional things you've seen, these all get plugged in to the correct integer, and then yeah, that's how it works. So we saw no weapon, so pick all the sprites from all of these on the left, which are zero. You really can't aim and shoot with no weapon. That from all those variables, select the integer 0. Integer 0 is idle, no weapon, idle, crouch, no weapon, walk, no weapon, walk, crouch, no weapon. That, pick 0, no weapon. Okay, well we'll do the no weapon idle animation on the top of that. I see idle. And we go to walk, select 0. Okay, we'll do the no weapon walk animation. And then if I equipped a pistol and it's holstered but not just unholstered, so I've equipped it, it equips holstered, so I've equipped it, it would go down here, down here, down here, it would go, okay, let me click, now it would go there, it would go there, it would go, is holstered true, just holstered false, 4, what is 4? 4 is idle holstered pistol, idle crouch holstered pistol, run holstered pistol. So then all these would have the 4th integer pass through to collect the correct animation for the holstered pistol. And this is where you're probably seeing the added benefit of it, because all these different state machines now are one mega state machine. And you might be thinking, oh Nick, what happens if when you create the shotgun and the enforcement rifle and the heat rifle, the laser rifle, the clearer, the grenades? Well, they would just plug into their respective order. They'll be overhauled into version 2 of the animation blueprint animation selector by then with the enum. But then they would have their respective thing that would go to their respective integer. Then this would select the correct respective integer and play that animation, and then it's forever and ever fixed. I do need to put in a use little node, I think call them nodes. Yeah, nodes. A use node, and maybe like a throw grenade node or something. Maybe I'll piggyback off the use, and use grenade is throw, because it's like an item rather than like an equipable weapon. At least that's what I'm thinking. So that's that. That's version 3. If you're wondering where the initial version 3 came from, it came from character and enemy animation blueprint. This is version 3 prototype. It looked like it was to solve this scenario. I had separate animation blueprints for every single enemy. Every single enemy. Because there's a limitation on changing the animation blueprint once you've plugged it in. Animation blueprint to blueprint relationship once you've connected them. So I created a master enemy blueprint, and I created a master enemy animation blueprint, connected them, and then I passed through the correct sprites and the correct information through instances, child instances of the master enemy blueprint, not animation, blueprint. That instance of the master enemy blueprint still relates to the master enemy animation blueprint. So blueprint has children for all the different enemies, but all the different enemies still relate to the parent blueprint and the parent animation blueprint. Hence, I managed to get 20 animation blueprints into one. Really sluggish, really bad. Like, if I copy and paste them in here, it's awful. Really didn't like it. It was only ever a V1. And then I thought, you know what? Forget all that. Why don't I do like a version 3? Because that was a version 2. Version 1 being the individuals, version 2 being the group, version 3 being this. And this only works for... I've only set it up to work for the zombies, medical zombies at the moment, that have 5 different styles. See, it's not called animation blueprint, animation selector, it's called style randomizer. And it's a rand number at creation of the instance. So, zombie medical spawns in, or I drag zombie medical in, play, could be style 5, start, play again, could be style 4, start, play again, could be style 3. I will need to put it into the game instance. I think I've already actually done that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I have. So, if you stop the game, you play the game, you might get a zombie in a black lab coat. If you stop the game, play a new game, you might get a zombie in a white lab coat. But if you play the game, you get a zombie in a black lab coat, you save the game, you load the game up, you will still get that same zombie with that same style. Essentially, I'm logging the style number for the instance of the zombie. So that's version 3 prototype, which has manifested into version 3, which is not a prototype anymore. So let me rename it. If you press F2, it does that. There we go. Lovely. That's a big one. That's what the branch was all about. NPCs don't have it yet. We'll put it into NPCs. It took me a long while to get it right, because alongside the version 3, I did the multi-directional sequences as well. Yeah. John animation blueprint single. Yes, done that. Because now, rather than these, I know it's done at the function, but in terms of the animation it's pre-done. You see, it's pre-done. So the function feeds the direction into the animation blueprint rather than the animation blueprint controlling its own direction. So that is done. Upgrade weapon flags to be better posed for version 3. Yeah, this relates to animation. This overhaul, what did I do? maybe I haven't technically done it. It has been upgraded. It's this. Talk about this. It has been upgraded in places. This is vague though. I realised it's this. It's this again. I'm talking about this. They've been done at different times. Look, 500 tasks between them. It's the same thing. It's just one's an old one. Upgrade from version 1 to version 3. So I kind of already talked about version 3, didn't I? Version 1. So deep dive into version 1 if we go a bit deeper. Animation. See where it gets crazy? Because yeah, even I forgot. Oh, you've got a pistol. Okay, so we'll do a pistol state machine. Oh, and then you just do pistol idle. No. Order of precedence. Just holstered, just unholstered, and then all these, and these are being put in a deliberate order, because out of order, the deck of cards falls down. Running. Well, you can't be reloaded. You can't be holstered. No, if you're unholstered and not reloaded and sprinting, then you won't run pistol. So you run with pistol in your hand, else you won't run holstered pistol. You could see where the multi-direction sequences and this version 3 really have simplified so much. Look at this bananas stuff. For whether it's walk holster, walk holster, walk holstered, walk unholster, walk reload, walk, all that gone into just this lovely little thing. Every single one is the same. Every single one is the same. See, all the way through. You might be thinking, how do I deal with the shoots? I don't. So you know I've got all these in order, 1, 2, all the way to 20, and then I've done like 101, 102 for the toggles. Just put them right at the bottom. I do that for walk, 1 for 1, so they align. But shooting, obviously, you can't shoot with a holstered pistol. You can't shoot with a reloaded pistol. So I don't need to put shoot animations in. So I do like 1, because there's no 0, because 0 is no weapon. 1, shoot pistol. 6, shoot pistol with submachine gun, holstered. 11, submachine gun. 16, submachine gun and pistol. And when it's shotgun, it will be multi-shoot shotgun 21, multi-shoot shotgun pistol 26. And you see that same process. And then, so remember 16 PDW pistol, 16 PDW pistol, and so you see they align nice and neat. The crate variables, I've already talked about it. I'm not doing good here. These originally on the master enemy blueprint, which for the version 3 prototype, I replicated it, changed this a bunch of times. I had like idle, crouch, walk, crouch, idle, holstered, idle, crouch, holstered, walk, holstered, walk, crouch, holstered. And then I thought, you know what, why don't I put all the idles into one thing and just have a sophisticated selector, and all the walks into one thing. The crouches are different because, to be honest with you, I probably could have just put crouches in. I could have put crouches in the same one, but why didn't I do it? Choice. Yeah, I could have put crouches into the same one, and then have crouch and idle just become crouch. You know, crouch idle comes idle, crouch walk becomes crouch. Yeah, I could do. Maybe in the polished version. But definitely before release. For version 4 is the polished version, so I'll have to do it before then. I'll make a note. I'll make a note to do it. I'll add that in for the future, because this is pre-polish. Yeah, so this is version 3, version 4, unify those. Consolidate animation blueprints to simplify logic. Yeah, you know, I'm terrible at saying stuff ahead of time. You know, I said about animation blueprint idle, animation blueprint idle holstered, and now you can see idle holstered. It's nice and neat. It's that. Adjust animation selection integers for simplicity. Yes. Did it in this order. It was because I did originally so this I did no weapon, pistol, PDW, pistol, didn't I? And same with the animation, SimSort logic. So pistol, PDW, pistol. I originally did it pistol, PDW, pistol, PDW, pistol. Which you might be thinking, what's the difference? You'll just have to change the numbers. You just moved it around and made work for yourself. Well, in this version, I can now do shotgun, pistol, like this. So we've got pistol, PDW, pistol, shotgun, pistol, enforcement rifle, pistol. You see there's a rhythm. The old way, it would have been no weapon, pistol, PDW, PDW, pistol. Oh, I've created shotgun. Oh, shotgun needs to go in between pistol, PDW and PDW. Right, okay, so then I've got to do all that. But then I've got to change all the numbers, because you can't drag them in. You can't move them. If I miss something. So I said about moving crouch into idle. Can't drag them in and change the numbers. I need to add them in one by one. Partly why I started at 101, started at the hundreds for toggles, because otherwise I would need to create one and update every single one of these numbers here, and then every single respective number here to plug in the toggles. So, yeah, that's what that relates to, and that's why there's orders. Update redirectors. If you are like me, you create something, you change the name of it, Unreal hides it, and you think, oh, okay, just rename. Let's say you go to delete that object, or you rename it again. Every now and then it'll go, hey, this weapon already exists, this object already exists, and you think, well, it doesn't because it's deleted. It's like, name already exists, pick a unique one. It's because it creates redirectors when you do it. So, redirect. Might not be any now. There'll be some outside of my game. So my game starts at content. All is Unreal stuff. So you see there's redirectors even in Unreal's business. You can right click, update them, and essentially it's like update references, delete it. I guess in C++ you'd call it like a pointer, where it's almost like it's pointing to its initial name, initial item with its initial name, and creating that relationship. And then it's almost like you're doing like maybe I'm wrong, it's like an update pointer. So then you're saying, like, rather than keep the old thing and point to the new thing, just update the old thing to be the new thing. So updating redirectors. Every now and then I like to do a pass. Did a big pass on this. If you change levels, be careful. If you change the name of your levels, they don't act like objects. If you change your name in here, you might be alright. If you go into the Windows, and change your name in here, I'm not going to show you where it is, it'll break everything. They'll exist, but Unreal won't see it. They'll exist in the folder, Unreal can't see it on the game. Be very careful changing names of levels. They are not like normal, like non-level objects. Move animation blueprint selector away from tick. Oh yeah, I had a right thing. So I always knew tick was bad, but I was like, I need something to trigger these different animation states. And you know, I said here, like I do this. Oh, you've changing your weapon, changing your ammo to changing ammo. That bool has become true. So then trigger this animation pass, and then it goes changing ammo. So 5, changing ammo for the pistol. 10, changing ammo for the pistol PDW. Yeah, I didn't have these plugged in. Partly why I want to create a state machine, you see, so I don't need to plug 25 of these in every time a weapon changes or something. I want just one big state machine. One big enum to function. An enum that I've called animation blueprint state, like this. Like that. But originally it was on tick. You will see tick is cleansed now. Since the previous branch, tick is fully cleansed. You know, I said I'd play a controller to control whether you look left directionality. Originally that was all on tick, mirroring those right only sprites. So tick clean, plugged in tick. Thought, oh, what's the problem? Maybe some of you have already figured it out. Tick happens multiple times a second, right? There's no weapon, so like no weapon, no weapon, no weapon, no weapon. Reloading might trigger, this process might trigger for a fraction of a second. So like, he's reloading, he's finished reloading, he's reloading, finished reloading. But tick is going, he's reloading, he's reloading, he's reloading, he's reloading, he's finished reloading, finished loading. So you see it's doing multiple passes when it should be doing one. This is kind of like a, okay, this function's being triggered. Function pass, like do once, find what you need. Okay, function's being triggered again, do once, find what you need. So, do once, oh, they're reloading. Reload animation. Do once, oh, they're not reloading. Oh, well, it's not holstered. Oh, it's not just unholstered. Okay, so it's unholstered. So, reloading, holstered. Then reloading, holstered. See? But it needs to be like a do once. I didn't want to put a do once on tick. And then I was thinking, well, how do I define it? I need to get something to go, okay, do once again, like a reset. Yeah, so the visual side is the animations look like someone's cut them off halfway, and I couldn't figure it out. Well, I figured it out. I was wrong. I did figure out, and I could figure out. But it didn't work, and it was a bit of a head scratcher. I thought, have I done something wrong with the animations? Have I, like, you know, like when you walk in, but it's kind of doing like he's doing like little joke steps rather than walk steps. Thinking, have I just like not put all the sprites in the flipbook? So that's that. Now we've just got this as a debug. I love having a debug folder with all these different debugs, and I plug them into tick, and boom, I get to see what I need to see. Yeah, so that's moving away from tick. That's version 1 moving. Highlight it. That's version 1 moving away from tick. Version 2 moving away from tick is these bad boys, plugging these in and getting rid of these and getting rid of all the bools. Because you might be thinking like, well, bool's 1 bit, Nick. It's like true, false, and a state machine could be like a heavier load. But if I put all the logic into one big enum, like main weapon, I won't do like main weapon, but maybe I will, into here, and then it's just one big lovely switch, and it switches to which thing it wants, bit like master. I've done this a couple of times. I really like it. Like this. How do I control which thing it unequips, which slot? And I was like, well, here we go. Feed the slot, feed the category. The slot is just for debugging, really. Feed the category. What thing did you unequip? What item did you unequip? Main weapon categories are all called main weapon for an enum, and side are all called side, and then head items are all called head. So then when you right click unequipped a slot, it runs this master unequipped item. So you've right clicked your main weapon category, selection, main weapon, unequipped main weapon, animation selector for the unequipped, and just to make the ammo widget appear and reappear. What this looks like is, I'll give you a little, I realise I haven't showcased anything, so I might as well give you a little look. Yeah, fine. Play F2 equipped. What that looks like is, when I right click that, it runs master unequipped, master unequipped equipment or whatever it was. There we go. And then it knows which one was unequipped. If I pause it and you look on the left very quickly, you might be able to see that debug. There we go. Main weapon main side slot. I don't know why I call it weapon main side slot. It's not wrong. I don't know why it's come up with that name, but it is doing the right slot. That's interesting. Main side slot. At one point I had the main and the side slot as one weapon. Yeah, single weapon. It's a historical name. But you see, it runs that, right click runs that, and the switch does it rather than loads of bools to say, oh, if it's this slot, if it's that slot, if it's this category. And I'm going to do that for, one sec, let me drag that there. This, I'm going to do that for this. Right click, close all to the right. Adjust timings for unholster. Yeah, I have a data asset that holds information on holsters. This is a really long video. Sorry. Data assets, item. Let's go one step higher. That is the wrong one. Oh, what's it called? Where are you hiding? I'll go child upwards. Submachine gun, parent. Did I pick the right one? Oh no. Huh. Oh, put them in the little category, didn't I? Time to unholster, time to holster, time to reload, shoot, toggle. Don't use time to shoot yet. Thinking time to shoot is if it's like it needs to power up. Time to toggle is the toggle thing. Time to reload, well, how long it takes to reload. Time to holster and unholster different, because pulling something out is much quicker doing it blind than it is putting something back in blind. You ever tried pulling a drink out your cup holder in a car? Easy peasy. You ever tried putting it back in? You need to use at least 10% more brain power. So, using that same logic, the numbers are the same here because I was testing it. But this is what I was doing, because the timing controls when the process finishes. What I mean by that is the animation could finish, but the time to unholster is still ticking, which then means it doesn't make the animation, the ammo blueprint pop up. So pay attention to when I unholster. So I'm going to press H now. You can see something pop up. Ammo widget. Ammo widget gone. You see it does something weird there. That little flicker. It's to do with the timings of holster and unholster. And I've nearly got it bang on. But obviously, if the animation's running at 1.26 seconds and the holster is 1.2, and then there's like a fractional, there's a delta difference, isn't there? So the delta's like, I guess delta is difference. The difference between two things. So if I do a holster and I press T to toggle, you see it's nearly there. You also see some sprite quirks. It's nearly there. If I do that left one, it's nearly right, but it's just not right. And that's to do with the timings combined with the animation. I considered taking them out and just doing it like you're unholstered when the animation finishes playing. So when this finishes, let me pick one. When reload finishes, I didn't pick reload, did I? When reload finishes, you're done. Rather than going on a time, it had some like temporary reference. It couldn't find it. I haven't investigated it properly. I will. I really like having individual times, but equally I could just draw an extra sprite. You know, like if something takes twice as long to reload, then I'll just draw twice as many sprites. So you see, it's a toss up, isn't it? How you do it. Do you want to do it artistically, or do you want to do it programmatically? Control the timings. Right now, that's kind of we're in like a hybrid situation. Animation blueprint selector. I'm hoping you find this useful, by the way, because this was a big overhaul, and the previous branch took me 2 months because I had to refactor a bunch of artistic assets and stuff, and all the animation sequences. Pretty much, between this branch and the last branch, I've done a vast overhaul of Paper ZD, everything Paper ZD that I use. So hopefully you find it useful. It's really it's fun. It takes time. It keeps me busy. Yeah. So version 2, version 1 is this. Look at this. Right. We've kept this bit. This bit's fine for now. We've kept that bit. We've kept that bit. It's fine. Just holstered. So you've pressed toggle. You've got a main weapon. You've got a side weapon. Your active weapon is unholstered. Doesn't matter what active weapon it is. Just holstered, because toggle, you holster your active, you unholster your holstered. So you go like active becomes inactive, inactive becomes active. It's like swapping weapons. So just holstered. Remember I had the balls control the flow. Time to holster. How long did it take to holster it? Once just holstered triggered, that's the delay. Then just holstered false. Just holstered is false, meaning holstered. Then toggle animation, toggle active weapon, because the active weapon class is submachine gun. You've pressed toggle. It's still the active weapon class when it's holstered, which is now here, but then toggle active weapon to be the side weapon here. Unholster, time to unholster, looks like it comes from, well, isn't it just going to pick the first weapons? No, because active weapon changes here. Active weapon, I'll just pick one of them. oh, this is crazy trying to refactor the ammo. Active weapon changes here. So in between, like, this is your submachine gun here. If that's your submachine guns in your hands, unholstered, and your pistol's holstered, submachine gun, swap active to pistol, pistol, and then you see time to holster comes from the pistol, time to unholster comes from the pistol, holster comes from the PDW, or swap it if you're holstering the pistol and the PDW comes out. Do that. If it's holstered, then toggle, then swap the weapon still, but just don't do any animations, because obviously you've got two guns. In the real world, they're both holstered, and you I'll pick the handgun. Oh no, I'll pick the submachine gun. But the game needs to know which one you're doing. So if you holster both your weapons, your last active weapon is your active weapon, and if you've holstered both your weapons, then and you press toggle, it will swap which is going to be your next active weapon when you next unholster. You see, one's in the background, one's in the visual foreground, depending on if it's holstered or unholstered. That's that. And that's version 1. Version 2 is toggling weapon, new temporary bull before I migrate to this. So this is version 2, and this bull is version 2. This enum will be version 3, toggle weapon. So so it's unholstered. You've got two valid weapons, side and main. So you're toggling your weapon. Time to toggle. You've toggled it. You swapped your weapon. Toggling is finished. That goes there. This is where originally multi-weapon things just look like this, but then I plugged in a not reloading, not changing weapon, is toggling weapon 101. So that's pistol to PDW. PDW doesn't have one, but PDW pistol does have a toggle weapon, and that is PDW to pistol 102. PDW to pistol 101. Pistol to PDW. Remember what I said about the weapon name order is which one's active, which one's inactive, unless I put both at the end and they're both holstered. That's that. Toggle. Oh, I've done it again. I've talked about it before. It's time to talk about it. I'm not going to put the timestamps on there simply because if you go on the timestamps, you're not going to know what I've said. I'll just be Groundhog Day in it, repeating myself. I won't put timestamps on this video. Sorry. I'll do it in order properly next time, and then the timestamps will actually serve a purpose. Toggle weapon ball. So it's this. Adding in the toggle where I needed to. I had to put in the toggle in here, so you can't aim while you're toggling, because I found a way. I broke it. I was QAing it. I found a way to shoot while I was toggling. Rather than putting it in shoot, well, I don't want you aiming in the first place. And aim, you remember the animation aim controls the flow to shoot. So if I cut it off at saying you can't aim, then you can't shoot inherently. It inherits the you cannot shoot because you cannot aim, you see? You can't eat because you've got no food in your fridge, sort of thing. You can't get drunk because you've got no alcohol. No, you can't get drunk because you can't get drunk. Not that I drink anymore. But that's the logic. I'm stopping it before it even becomes the next step. Create. Oh yeah. So with toggle, I did this morning actually. I needed to create toggle multis. Am I blank? Oh, because it's multi-idle toggle. That's right, and it's multi-walk toggle. There you go. So you see, it's the holstering of the submachine. it's PDW pistol holster with pistol PDW unholster, those sprites plugged in. Partly the reason why I've been able to remove this convolution's got to be a word, convoluted process, this section is now one strip, because this was switching halfway through. So it does the holster animation or whatever you've got, and then it does the unholster animation of a different thing. So it's very quickly changing the flipbooks in the old way. This way, it plays a flipbook which is a combination of the correct holster and unholster glued together. So you see the feet move. That's where I said about the pixels being out, and I need to tidy the sprites slightly more. I think the reason is because I go on the eyes there. I try to line it up on that bit, but obviously his head moves, and I think I must have just put it on the wrong line. Because really, his body shouldn't be moving. So I do need to do more tidy sprites. I'm well aware of that. Yeah, like this one. These have all been drawn separately and then put together. Well, not all of them, but they're not in a line, you see. It's not easy peasy in a line. It's a vast sprite sheet. And pistol and PDW is like right at the bottom. But PDW and pistol, so first weapon is the one that's active, is in the middle. And then PDW only is at the top. I'm talking hundreds. So you can get quite quality blind if they're not side by side. So this is why it's a disconnect, because all these you're seeing here are coming from two distinct parts of the same mega sprite sheet. They are not up to down in any sort of order. They are ordered, but they're not ordered all ducks in a row. Half these sprites have come from the bottom, half the sprites have come from the middle, for example. So that's that. So they go into there. I create the flipbooks, plugged in the flipbooks, then from there, and this is the beauty of the version 3, I didn't need to create an extra node, did I? I would have needed to in the old way. Didn't need to create an extra node. You're thinking, why did you need to create an extra node, Nick? That is because I just plug them into here, and I plug it into the animation blueprint there and there, and it selects the right one. I do that thing to go, hey, remember, do a pass when it's starting to toggle. Oh, you're toggling it, change the animation. You've finished toggling it, change the animation. And you can see I've aligned of what I think it's going to be with the version 3. So this will be a toggle state, this will be an unholstered state, because they're unholstered, you see, after the finished toggle. So it's slight alignment. It's not going to be a true false anymore like this. It's going to be a present state. You wouldn't have like hungry true false, thirsty true false. You just have hungry state, thirsty state, sleepy state. See? Rather than bool logic, it's definitive, like this. And that's the full branch. This is a really long video. It's probably quite cathartic for me to be doing this now anyway. But next, texture maps for the NPCs. I want to call them diffuse maps, but I'm consciously aware that people will not know what diffuse means outside of like a certain circle. So I call them texture maps. But I do save them and refer to them in my own head as diffuse maps. A few branches ago, where did I do it? Like I drew, oh my god, how many branches ago was it? I'm not going to scroll forever. Yeah, I upgraded the sprites and stuff. That's not what I wanted to talk about actually. Many branches ago, I drew the NPC and enemy things. Let me show you what they look like. This is like a post branch thing. Sprites. I might need to. That's in order, isn't it? I might be able to find it. Yeah. So the protagonist is one big blueprint split by, well, multiple big blueprints split by what weapons he would hold. So pistol only, PDW, which is PDW and pistol, no weapons. You'll have shotgun only. Oh, it's very bright. One sec. That's control and apostrophe. If you're wondering how I got rid of the lines. You see what we've got. So I've drawn them like that. Like that. You know, I said there's 5 versions, so these are the 5 variations. Style randomizer integer, remember? This. I've drawn them. They look nice. They look alright, don't they? To be honest, I forgot how nice they looked. But that's for zombie medical. Let me. And this one. Black. Scroll. I've only got idols, but I need to draw them walking, biting, dying, potentially getting. I do like the injured. I've kept the injured logic for the weapon, for the enemies, hence why like bits fall off them and stuff. For some of the enemies anyway, I'd like to incorporate into all of them. So you could see like that is like walk, idle, walk right, walk up. I don't have a walk left. Maybe do a walk left. Maybe I'll just keep it mirrored. I don't know. I think it's a lot of work to do lefts after what I've gone through with Protagonist. Maybe that's future branch, but we've got like walk up, and then we've got death. What's the difference? What's the difference? Oh. There's some redundancy here, I didn't need all of them. But I've done 2 sets. Permanent death, headshot. Temporary death, might come back to life. Crimson Heads, Resident Evil 1 remake. I actually got that logic in, it's in the previous branch, it does work. I like it. There's a percentage chance they come back up. And they stay dead. You go out the room, you go back in, there's a percentage chance they come back up as well. So, yeah, I created persistence branches ago. I forgot about that. I'm pleased I did that now, thinking back. But, you see, I've got all these to draw. And there's 20 enemies. I might do... Oh, I shouldn't. No. I'll create separate enemy things. I've got OneDrive activated. Oh, no, like OneDrive. Yeah. I'm gonna create separate. I'm gonna keep separate Photoshop things for the enemies. I'd like the idea of doing one big mega one, but I'd have to redesign where all the sprites come from, and that is creating extra work for myself. So I'm doing that now. That's what that was about. And then, that was for the silly me. I showed you the enemies, but it's the NPCs. NPCs are in the same state. They've got idle. One of them's got a walk because I was testing walk one time. But yeah, they've just got idols. So doing that, what I said, what I showed, but for all the NPCs, Photoshop, then the enemies, which I've just showed you, then the normal maps for them. I don't have normal maps on my character anymore at the moment. Then animations, because you know, right now we've got idle, haven't we? But we don't have any other animations for most of the enemies, most of the NPCs. So I need to create all these animations. Like if there's an attack, if an NPC is running, I need to do a flipbook for that NPC being running, and I need to plug that flipbook in somewhere for the NPC running. So that version 3, so like finalized version 3 now, I guess you'd say, for NPCs. Fully do it for enemies, because right now I've got it all set up for enemies, but I've only done it for zombie medical. I need, with drawing the rest of the enemies stuff and creating the rest of the animations, I then can plug them into the rest of the blueprints, and then yeah, just usual stuff. I won't talk about the rest. It's taking too much time. But you see, that's that. That's what I'm doing. So I'm on this one now. I'm making good time. I wanted to start in July, and I've got 6-7 days. So considering this one took like 2 months, no, like 1.5 months. This one took me like 2 weeks, which is more. That's a better cadence. This one might take me a month. We'll see, because there's about 20 NPCs, and they're not just got different hair colours like The Sims or something. They have different clothes. They'll probably have slightly different walks, slightly different idle animations. Some of them are women, so I'm used to drawing men, if I'm honest with you, and even the men ones are a bit like hit and miss with the sprites. Drawing women's a bit different. I've drawn the idols for the women I've drawn are pretty good, but women walk different to men. I don't want to have the women walk like men. Essentially what I'm saying. Or have there's nuance to it. Just like an enemy with one leg moves differently to an enemy with 2 legs, a man moves differently to a woman. And I want to capture that. I don't want it to just be like, oh, it's just dude animations, but with like lipstick. Like Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't want Mrs. Doubtfire. I want real women, real men. Create the nuance in the animations, not Mrs. Doubtfire. Dude looks like a lady. And that's me. Yeah, thank you. I'll publish this. I'll do a better job with doing these in the right order next time, so then timestamps will be in. The last 2 have been a bit choppy, where I've said stuff before it's come up. I'll make extra sure it's back on point. Yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Bye bye.